Hey guys, my name is Matthew, and this is my review of Send For Me by Lauren Fox. Here we go. Send For Me is a historical fiction novel that is roughly based on some actual real life letters. She's changed the names and some of the story bits, but a lot of it is based on real life events. The book flip-flops between modern day, current day Wisconsin and World War II era Germany, and it features these letters from the time period of World War II. Big thank you to Not Doubleday Publishing for the advance copy of this book. In this review, we're going to be just going through some of my observations of the novel. We'll start off with some of the things I liked the most, and we'll move through the review until we get to a couple things that I didn't love as much. I'll end this review by just giving my recommendation for this book. Who should purchase it? Who is it written for? To start with, I really loved how this was a different take on a World War II historical fiction piece. Instead of focusing on the fighting or specific families that were in World War II, this novel really focuses on kind of a different element. It really focuses on the family. In fact, even though this is a piece of historical fiction that's based in World War II itself is kind of in the background the entire time. Obviously, we see the ripple effects of World War II happening in the novel, but it's not the focus at all. Really, in this novel, the focus is familial relationships, especially between mothers and daughters. I really appreciated this different take on World War II because honestly, as I started into the novel, I was afraid I was going to be reading the exact same historical novel based on World War II that we are so used to. And this one is different. I really liked that. Another thing I really liked about this book is the prose is incredibly gorgeous. It's beautiful, it's flowery, it's sometimes a little bit tough to get through, but it's so beautiful. It's just a gorgeously, really well-written book, and I really appreciated that. The language is just absolutely fantastic. Something else about Send For Me is it's very character-driven. It's different than you might expect for a historical fiction piece in that the characters really take the front seat. The plot is not very important, and I'd say really the thing that you're looking for is you're looking to see how the connections between characters happen. That is really, really key in this novel. And I really appreciated just, again, a different take on the way the historical fiction is normally done. It's beautiful, the connections are gorgeous, you really feel for the characters. They are real characters, and that's not just because they're actually real, but you feel like they're real. Like you really get a chance to know the characters in the novel really, really well. Another thing I just loved about this novel was how emotive, emotional, and personal it was. This is like a love story from Fox to her family in some sense. It's just gorgeous. You can tell her heart went into the novel. There are parts of it that are heartbreaking and sad, and parts of it that are beautiful and lovely and just gorgeous. I think the novel is it's just so personal, and I love it. It's just absolutely gorgeous how invested, obviously, Fox was in writing this novel, but also how invested you can be in reading the novel as well, because it's so personal. It's written well enough that you really can invest yourself into it. A couple things I didn't love so much about the book. First of all, it felt in some way unresolved. And I don't just mean like the plot kind of doesn't close up perfectly, which I think it was on purpose. I don't think that was like an accident, but something else about it just felt a little unresolved. Now, it's possible this wasn't intentional, but for me, it just felt like the novel wasn't fully rounded and it could have used something. I'm not quite sure what that thing is yet, but I feel like unresolved is the word that I'm resonating here. Secondly, I felt like, especially at the beginning, I sometimes got lost about what time period I was in and whose perspective I was reading from. It was a little bit disorienting at times. It wasn't a huge detraction from the novel. If you can get through that, especially that first bit where you start to understand what's going on, then it's totally worth it. Keep reading through. It's a beautiful novel, but there was a little bit of disorientation for me in the novel as I was reading. Before I get into who this novel is recommended for, I do just want to point to the description box below. I do have an Amazon affiliate link there, so if you're gonna buy the book, it doesn't cost you any extra, but it really helps out our channel. I do recommend this book for people who enjoy historical fiction and are looking for a little bit of a different spin. Especially if you're interested in the World War II model. The novel is really well researched, it's really interesting. The letters feel very personal because they are. I think they're actually the letters that she has from this time period. And so the novel feels so real and so visceral. If you like historical fiction, and maybe even if you like history, then this is a great novel for you. I will say it's not an easy read, and so if you don't feel strong in your reading ability, this might be a novel to put down and wait for it later. But I definitely recommend this novel. Really, really well written, wonderful prose, lots of good stuff going on in here. This has been my review of Send For Me by Lauren Fox. If you've enjoyed this review, please feel free to like and subscribe and use the affiliate link in the description to purchase the novel. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, stay safe out there.